What's up, everybody? DC Rocks here, and as someone who saw the Supergirl movie and it's still fresh in my mind, let me tell you, it started as a mid movie, but it just got progressively just turned into a bad movie. This is just Supergirl solely as a movie from the perspective of someone just viewing it. It was slow and characters, especially Krem,
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
had little to no character development whatsoever. I felt nothing for any of the characters as the movie progressed, and the action scenes just made the movie slow rather than exciting. And this is mainly because I felt nothing for the characters, so you know what? It just really felt like boring exposition, like whatever, we're just transitioning. I wouldn't watch it ever again, and if I wasn't a DC fan, I wouldn't have went to see it at all. But as for those who haven't seen it, the plot is pretty simple. It starts off with Supergirl and Crypto, and they have some moments in space with music in the background, and it's just eh. It's not good, it's not bad either, it's just really middle of the road. And this movie really is just a ton of it's just a slow burn into Terrible Town since at the end if you saw it you were just like that's it. Because nothing really happens even though a ton of stuff did. It's all just really pretentious. This movie really thinks it did something that it didn't. But anyway, as for the plot, Ruthia and her family get visited by Krem, and he kills her entire family for no other reason than the brother just was trying to jump scare Ruthia, who was his sister, and Krem just instantly blasted him, which it was kind of funny, but as a plot point, I didn't like it at all. I just thought it was just very bad setup. I mean, to be fair, bad stuff does happen, but this was just like unnecessarily goofy for the tone of the scene, which was like tense and serious, and you know, you get it. If you've seen it, you get it. It was like it just didn't match at all. Uh, I think it would have been better if Krem just killed them all because only he wanted the swords and he didn't want anyone else to have them. But hey, James Gunn signed off on this, so yeah. Anyway, Ruthia's family dies and they blow up Krem's ship along with them. Ruthia wants to seek revenge, so she takes her father's family sword and goes to a bar where, coincidentally, Supergirl is there getting drunk. She gets everyone's attention and asks anyone in the bar if they can help her seek revenge against Graham. This big alien dude just like bullies her and steals her sword, and finally Supergirl intercedes. But you know, for some reason, she's like genuinely just really unwilling to help Ruthia at all, even telling Crypto to like settle down when she's being bullied before uh, finally stepping in to do something. She also doesn't have her powers on this planet, or they're not working properly, and I don't know why. It probably wasn't explained, but maybe it was a red sun. I just don't remember. But anyway, she fights the big bad alien guy and gives Ruthia her sword back, and Ruthia tries to convince her to fight Cram, but she stubbornly insists, I won't. Ruthia ends up following and stalking Supergirl to her ship, where lo and behold, Krem is there. Crypto runs in to stop him, and he gets shot by kryptonite poison. Felt absolutely nothing for the dog. Anyway, Supergirl is devastated and takes him to a female shaman who says he has 3 days left and Krem has the cure. Supergirl takes a space bus and Ruthia sneaks on board. Basically, hijinks ensue and space pirates come who are all female. This was intentional and it's important for another point I will make later. Anyway, they hijack the engine of the bus and murder an innocent passenger and try to also murder Supergirl or Ruthia, I forget which one. Well, no, I think it started with Ruthia, but at first she didn't even try to help anyone here once again, even though she's literally Supergirl and ignores them until Ruthia makes it impossible to ignore them and drives the conflict, which actually does make sense to her character since it was established previously that she doesn't like butcherings of the innocents. As to why Supergirl doesn't have this trait, bro, I don't know. I have no idea. Once again, James Gunn, he signed off on this. Anyway, the space pirates literally try to kill Kara by venting her out into space, but she powers up because of a yellow sun and decimates their fleet and strands them in space because she takes their engine. Once again, she doesn't kill them. This is important later, but anyway, she has a brief conversation with the bus driver on another planet where he tells her about a planet that is going through war. I think it's called like Bylos or something. Something like that. It went through a nuclear war or something like that. And on this planet, a lot of people, particularly young girls, have wound up missing and kidnapped. Kara investigates this to find the brigands, and eventually she does end up finding them. But before that, she winds up in another bar where Lobo is, and she ends up starting a brawl over Ruthia. It seemed like literally all traffickers were in this bar that day because the only thing of value that Kara had to any of them was Ruthia herself, even the people who owned it. Anyway, after the brawl, Lobo is coincidentally looking for brigands too, but he gets denied. However, Supergirl is accepted likely because of Ruthia, and because if they traded Ruthia, they could get their daughter back to people who own the bar. Like I said, that was the only thing of value was Ruthia herself. So they end up taking Supergirl and Ruthia to their home. Kara goes into her backstory here as they wait for the brigands. They don't know they're waiting for the brigands, but that's what they're waiting for. And this backstory was very badly, very terribly placed. And once again, this is another fault of James Gunn because the original Gillespie cut didn't have this. It had it at the beginning, which would have been way, way better. This was terribly placed. Then afterwards, Krem finally arrives. Supergirl gets drugged, but it doesn't work, and she fights off the brigands. Action scenes occur, and Lobo joins the fight. Krem kills a girl who belonged to the people who drugged her, and there's an emotional beat. It's kind of weird, and this will be important later. Kara saves Ruthia from Krem, and Krem eventually leaves with his brigand crew to another planet with a Kryptonite sun, which is something I never, ever, ever seen throughout all the DC universe. But you know what? All right, whatever. I mean, whatever, man. It's already a bad movie. Whatever. Supergirl and Ruthia track him to this new planet, and this Kryptonite sun, it comes up, and it forces Kara and Ruthia to seek shelter in a cave. Ruthia gives Supergirl her suit, and she begrudgingly chooses not to wear it. And bear with me, guys. We're almost done. Just take a water break or something. I'll wait. How you doing? You doing good? You doing good? You got your water? Okay, good. We're gonna keep going. I want to get through this. But anyway, Supergirl in this moment shows how little she cares about being Supergirl by mocking the suit for being just a suit, even though it's literally meant to be her entire identity as a superhero. But you know what? Kryptonite Sun, suit, whatever, man. Ruthia goes to do recon and she gets snatched up by a brigand. Yep, she gets snatched up just like that. I don't know how they didn't find Supergirl since she was like right next to the cave, but whatever. On the ship, Lobo's locked up with her too, and eventually Krem comes to talk to her, wanting to know where Supergirl is. There's actually a deleted scene in which he explains to Ruthia why he kidnaps people in the first place, and it would give given some much needed amazing character development, but it was cut once again by James Gunn. Afterwards, Ruthia breaks out of her cell and gets Lobo, and she sneaks out to the top of the ship to confront Krem. Krem obviously grabs her up and is about to throw her off, but at the same moment, Supergirl comes wearing the suit. Since the yellow sun is finally up, and it's like, gosh, this movie really sucks. Like, you're watching it, it's just not good. This moment is not good. Anyway, she barely really actually hurts Krem, but her and Lobo wreck his entire crew and end up saving, and well, Supergirl ends up saving the brides, which are a bunch of underage girls. And this is also one of the few times Kara actually decides to use her heat vision, which is something Kryptonians are known for. Anyway, for some reason, Krem is injured, even though he didn't get touched and is supposed to have the strength of 1,000 men. Kara ends up killing him with Ruthia's sword after convincing Ruthia to basically let her do it instead. And that's the whole movie. So, yeah, you can imagine my reaction to when I saw this as a DC fan.
Know your place, trash.
Not good at all. So, I mean, I'll just get to the next part, right? We're gonna go to constructive criticism. I don't entirely like, just ripping things down and tearing things down. I actually do like to show constructive criticism because it reveals just how badly this movie was made, right? So, anyway, as a critic, what would I say about this movie? Well, first of all, the reason hardly anyone feels anything for these characters is because the character development is hardly even portrayed in the movie at all. And this could be seen as simple as we just experience and see their personality and witty dialogue and stuff like that. There's hardly any anywhere. And there's other forms of character development, but that's like one of the main ones is dialogue. But we also have no scenes where we're really able to get immersed with the character's personality, emotions, characteristics, etc., etc. Supergirl's just drunk all the time. Ruthie is just seeking revenge all the time. Krem is just a guy all the time, a goofy villain all the time. I don't know. It's just nothing. And Supergirl in general, she's just far too stoic towards everything that has nothing to do with her. But it's also Lobo and Ruthia who have these same problems. They really just have no personality at all. Like it's so lacking. And that's the main reason the movie feels so slow, even though it's not even that long. It's like the length of a normal movie. but it's like it never progresses, and this is because the viewers are so detached from the main characters. They're not going to care about the stakes or the plot, but involving these characters that they don't care about. Another thing that doesn't help, the pace is a very simple plot. So the pace is slow because the plot is so simple. But that's not the main reason why, although that is a contributing factor. It's also because it wasn't executed well. Mainly because the writers have zero imagination when it comes to making bad things happen. Every time something bad does happen, Supergirl is always bailed out. Two times it was because the main character is always bailed out. She never ever has to actually work for any of these saves or anything like that, which is another reason why it's so boring. There's no real stakes. So when bad things do happen, they have zero effect. The main character is always bailed out every single time. And it was the same for Ruthia till she finally got a short time to shine at the end of the movie, her own escape. And this was a step right direction, I believe, but the fact that it's 30 minutes before the movie ends meant viewers literally didn't care about her or that escape at all. Now, what could have been done to fix this? It's very simple. Just study basic writing principles and practices. The people who wrote this movie have no idea what they are doing, and it shows. Any basic filmmaking student, or even average person who just understands good stories and screenplays, could have made something better. For a movie with millions of dollars in budget, this screenplay was literally pathetic. The problems here are the easiest and most basic mistakes to make and fix as a writer, so the fact that Gunn even greenlit this means he himself has no idea how to actually write, and bro is just winging it. So, like I said in the beginning, this movie can basically be summed up as mediocre in the beginning and just bad at the end. Now, I want to speak as a DC fan. This is the important part for me. As a DC fan, this movie's just trash. I counted how many times Supergirl uses her X-ray vision in the entire movie. She literally does it twice, bro.
That's some bullshit.
She also uses her super breath 0 times and freeze breath 0 times as well, even though she had opportunities to use it. And the writers could have made more opportunities for her to use it, but it just didn't never happen. Her use of laser eyes are very fleeting. It only happens a couple times. It's very, very, very fleeting. She mainly just flies around and punches things hard. Also, Krem is apparently supposed to be a Kryptonian level threat, and yet he gets killed by a basic strong steel sword. I mean, like what? Like, it's just like this movie from top to bottom was just stupid. Also, Lobo is literally here for no reason but to be a bailout. He coincidentally is ends up just chasing the same brigand Supergirl is, and that's the only reason for as to why he is here. Also, he wasn't portrayed by Momoa good at all. I thought his acting on Lobo was really really bad. As for Millie, she I didn't think she did bad at all. I think she actually did quite well for what she had. But unfortunately, good acting can't replace good writing. But you know what? I did expect her to act well since, after all, she was young Rhaenyra in House of Dragons, and she did good there. She did really good there. Saw the movie. A lot of the problems this movie had could have been solved by just making Supergirl Supergirl and sticking to actual comic book canon. Gunn nor Anna have no idea how to write superheroes or heroines clearly. So as to why they felt they could do it from scratch truly baffles me. I don't know why they thought they could do that. Since literally all they had to do is figure out who Supergirl was in the comics, and then put her on the big screen with a good original story, or a remaster on the story entirely, and from the comics, just get the story from the comics, put it on the big screen, remaster it a little bit, like refine it and iron out the weaker parts in the comics to make it better for the theaters. But apparently that was too much for them. This is literally something even I understood intuitively, and I'm not even a DCU creative CEO, but I might as well be one. This is also coming from someone who I hate Gunn's Superman because it just wasn't a good movie. It was not Superman. It suffered from literally the exact same problems that Supergirl did, but even worse than Supergirl, and this is like across the board. Lastly, Krem, Ruthia, Crypto, and Lobo were all terrible supporting cast for Supergirl because once again, Gunn does not allow you to immerse in the characters that he makes from scratch. And it's not like that they were any good anyway, but it would have helped if we could at least immerse into them. But that's all I have to say as a DC fan. I do have a scene comparison though that I do want to do because I really want to pick out a scene that I cringed at the most in the movie theater and was also just really just pretty confusing to me, and that was Krem's execution. It just didn't make sense at all, narratively, when I watched it. First is Krem himself. Of course, I felt nothing when he died, because all he did was act goofy and like a menace. But as for why Supergirl killed him, I don't know. He can't fly, so if he can't fly, he can't go after Ruthia. Supergirl could have just spared him, and with his ship destroyed and no others around, he would have just died or been stranded on that planet for the rest of his life. Another thing is, for some reason, I think she was seeking revenge. I told you, this is a confusing scene. It's not clear. Her dog was obvious, but for what Supergirl was referring to, before what girl she was referring to, I'm sorry, for what girl she was referring to, I don't know. There's this weird emotional beat in the middle of the movie where Krem kills a girl in the alleyway and Supergirl looks disappointed or something. I'm not sure. Her emotions in the movie are generally confusing and hard to follow. So I really couldn't tell if she meant Ruthia or if she meant that girl in the alley. But either way, her seeking revenge in the first place is still confusing. That's why I think she was really just convincing Ruthia to let her kill Krem, more than convincing Ruthia to not kill. But because, once again, this guy is supposed to be a Kryptonian level threat, and yet he's just dying to a basic steel sword. But also, Kara kept giving these pep talks to Ruthia from the beginning of the movie when he met her to now about how killing Crown won't make her feel better. But that wasn't the only reason why she even pursued him. She wanted to kill him also because he was doing the same to others, and she doesn't like the killing of innocents. But Supergirl killing him just didn't make sense. She didn't even kill the space pirates, who literally murdered an innocent passenger and tried to murder her. But she kills Krem? It's just so inconsistent. It makes her out to be such a selfish, dumb person and also a massive hypocrite with insane favoritism who says one thing, but that just does the complete opposite other thing. If she knew, right, that it wouldn't make Ruthia feel better, she would have known the same for herself, no? Also, Clark had been calling her the entire time. If she really cared about Krem getting away, then she could have just thrown Homie into the Phantom Zone. That's like a ultra last resort for Superman. And it would have been the same for her in the comics. And in the Phantom Zone, he would have had the craziest, surreal self reflection ever for hundreds of years. But you know what? That's all I have to say for this scene. It just doesn't make sense. It's just so confusing. Lastly, I just want to say that if you were thinking of seeing this movie, don't waste your money or time on it, pirate it or whatever, but this movie genuinely does not deserve to be supported and it's not worth watching. Given it's not as bad as Disclosure Day, which is by far one of the worst movies I've ever watched in my life, so I can give it that. It's somewhat more palpable in many ways, but I only went just because I'm a DC fan and also a YouTuber now, and that's it. I also would recommend not bothering with the rest of the DCU, including the Batman movie, since James Gunn is creative co-CEO. He's just going to continue to ruin everything. I actually watched Gillespie's Cruella, and I thought it was a pretty good movie, and I didn't mind it at all. When I did watch it, I was expecting it to just be like woke slop, but it was genuinely just not. It was just generally just good. It wasn't bad at all. But the main thing is, it was nothing like Supergirl at all. But that's for another video. Video about a man who knowingly cucks himself and ages his co-CEO by decades every day he still has a job. A man whose sole purpose is to ruin every comic book character we've ever loved from DC to Marvel. But that's enough. He who shall not be named will get a video of his own, because he is such a freaking train wreck that it deserves its own video. And anyway, if you like this video, drop a like for me and subscribe. I have more videos coming soon, so hit the bell too. This was DC Rocks. I'll see y'all in the next video.